and I started our ascent from the base camp in the late afternoon, planning to set up our tent before nightfall. The mountain was known to be beginner-friendly, yet from the very beginning, I felt uneasy. Some locals had warned us not to hike when it was getting dark, but we brushed it off as an old myth, something people like to exaggerate. As the sun disappeared, the trail grew quieter. Fog slowly rolled in, swallowing the trees one by one. The forest sounds changed, no longer filled with insects, but replaced by a heavy silence that pressed against our ears. That was when the first strange thing happened. I heard footsteps behind us. When I turned around, there was no one there. I convinced myself it was just a snapping branch, or my imagination playing tricks on me. We reached our campsite much later than planned. We set up the tent in complete darkness. That was when one of my friends realized something was wrong. There were only 2 of us. There should have been 3. Our friend, let's call him R, was gone. At first we thought he was just walking more slowly, but after calling his name over and over with no response, panic began to sink in. We searched for him using our flashlights. Strangely, R's footprints were still clearly visible in the damp soil, but they suddenly stopped near a large tree covered in moss.
We were wrong. After we descended the mountain, R was taken to a small clinic near the village. Physically, he recovered within days, but something about him had changed. He became quiet, too quiet. He avoided eye contact and refused to talk about the hike unless someone forced the question. Even then, his answers were always short, as if he was afraid that saying too much would make something listen. A week later, R finally told us the rest of what he experienced that night. He said the figure he followed looked exactly like a hiker, same jacket, same backpack, but it never made a sound. No footsteps, no breathing. When the fog grew thicker, R realized something was wrong. The path felt endless, looping in ways that made no sense. Trees he swore he had passed before appeared again and again, as if the mountain itself was turning him around. At some point, the figure stopped walking. R stopped too. That was when he noticed the smell. Damp earth mixed with something rotten. Slowly, the figure turned its head. Not its body, just its head. R said the face looked almost human, but the eyes were wrong.
After that night, none of us ever truly returned to normal. R was discharged from the clinic, but he refused to go back to his house near the forest. He said the air there felt wrong, heavier than before. He moved in with a relative in the city, believing distance would help him forget. But forgetting was impossible. The mountain had already learned his name. At first, the disturbances were small. R complained about hearing footsteps in empty hallways, always matching his pace. When he stopped walking, the sound stopped too. He told himself it was trauma, his mind replaying fear. Until one night, when the footsteps continued, even after he lay down in bed. He began to dream of the mountain. In his dreams, the trail never ended. Fog wrapped tightly around the trees, and somewhere ahead, a familiar figure walked slowly, never turning back. Every time R tried to scream, his voice disappeared into the mist. When he woke up, his clothes were damp, as if he had been walking or walking. We noticed changes in him. R avoided mirrors. He said sometimes his reflection felt delayed, like it was watching him instead of copying him. Once, during a blackout, he whispered that he saw someone standing behind him in the reflection of a dark window. Same height, same posture, same stillness. Months passed.